Harley Davidson, one of the most iconic brands out there that sparks passion, controversy, and fierce loyalty like no other motorcycle brand. If you're an experienced rider who values comfort and status, this one's for you. But some Harleys totally failed to deliver, and for some good reason. So we lined up 6 Harleys you should avoid and 8 Harley you should consider to buy next. Let's start with Harley Davidson's biggest failure. Number 6, Harley Davidson Street 500/750, the identity crisis. Let's start with the Harley that sold its identity, the Street 500 and 750. They were meant to be Harley's entry ticket, affordable, approachable, and urban. Instead, cost-cut feel, muted sound, and off-brand styling turned them into a cautionary tale about chasing new riders while losing what makes a Harley a Harley. On paper, this Harley almost had everything. Low seat, urban-friendly ergonomics, liquid cooling for heat, ABS on many trims, light clutch, and a price that finally made the badge accessible. The dark custom look, clean. It felt almost too good to be true. Then reality. The Revolution X V-twin, 494/749 cubic centimeters, was developed with and assembled largely in India for global markets, some US assembly, undercutting the Made in America story. Power was meek, about 34 horsepower for the 547 for the 750, pushing nearly 500 pounds. The result was a dismal power to weight and a bike that ticked the boxes but missed the soul. When new, the Street 500 listed around $7,000 and the 750 about $8,500, cheap by Harley standards. Today, used examples sit at roughly $3,000 to $5,000. Sounds like a bargain for the badge. So why did these bikes fail? Because Harley jumped into a price war against brands that own the value lane. Kawasaki and Honda went on cost because of scale, ruthless value engineering, and rock-solid dealer networks. A narrow 17-inch front wheel, bargain suspension, modest brakes, and assembly that felt budget instead of premium. That race to the bottom also meant outsourcing and dialing down the signature cues: air-cooled heritage, lumpy V-twin character, and Made in America pride. The result? A bike too cheap to feel like a Harley and not polished enough to beat the Japanese at their own game. By chasing the competition on price, Harley surrendered the one thing it couldn't replace: its identity. But at least the Street series was functional, even if uninspiring. The next Harley on our list had problems that went far deeper than just disappointing performance. Number 5, Harley Davidson Sportster, AMF-era. Sportster and best belong in the same sentence, just not for every generation. The AMF period dragged it down so far, it qualifies for this worst list as well. During the AMF ownership years, Harley Davidson's quality control went from questionable to catastrophic. The Sportsters became the poster children for everything wrong with AMF's management, earning a reputation for unreliability that took decades to overcome. The Sportster packed an Ironhead 997cc V-twin engine, producing around 58 horsepower. On paper, decent numbers. In reality, these engines leaked oil like a sieve, vibrated so badly they'd crack mounting brackets, and had electrical systems so unreliable that carrying spare parts wasn't optional. It was mandatory. The bike weighed approximately 495 pounds wet, and every one of those pounds seemed determined to shake itself apart. A new 1980 Sportster cost around $4,500, which seemed reasonable until you factored in the constant repair bills. Today, these AMF-era Sportsters trade for $2,000 to $4,000, valued only by hardcore enthusiasts willing to completely rebuild them. Most survivors have been restored or modified so extensively they barely resemble the original disaster that left the factory. The problems weren't just mechanical, they were systemic. Quality control was non-existent. Paint would peel within months. Chrome would rust almost immediately. Fasteners would loosen themselves. Assembly was so poor that dealers had to essentially rebuild bikes before selling them. These Sportsters gave Harley Davidson a reputation for unreliability that persists in some circles today, over 40 years later. The AMF-era Sportsters proved that even an iconic brand could fall from grace when corporate bean counters prioritized profits over quality. Speaking of falling from grace, our next motorcycle represented an even bigger miscalculation. It became one of Harley's most spectacular commercial failures, selling barely 3,100 units over 3 years. Number 4. Harley Davidson XLCR Cafe Racer. Willie G. Davidson's XLCR Cafe Racer should have been revolutionary, but it wasn't. This wasn't because the bike was terrible. It was because Harley fundamentally misunderstood their customer base. The XLCR featured a 997cc Ironhead Sportster engine producing around 61 horsepower and 63 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighed 515 pounds and could hit a respectable top speed around 110 miles per hour. It wore distinctive black bodywork, a bikini fairing, rear-set foot pegs, and a European-inspired cafe racer stance that looked nothing like traditional Harleys. When new, the XLCR cost $4,000, premium pricing for a Sportster variant. Harley customers took one look and said, no thanks. They wanted cruisers and tours, not some British-inspired cafe bike. The XLCR sat unsold in dealerships, eventually selling at deep discounts. Today, that same bike trades for $15,000 to $30,000 because collectors now appreciate what the market rejected 45 years ago. The XLCR taught Harley a valuable lesson: know your customer. Unfortunately, that lesson would be forgotten again. Our next motorcycle proved that sometimes innovation isn't what the market wants. It divided Harley enthusiasts like no bike before or since. Number 3. Harley Davidson V-Rod. The V-Rod represented Harley's most radical departure from tradition. Co-developed with Porsche engineering, it featured a liquid-cooled engine and sporting styling that looked more Japanese than American. The V-Rod packed a Revolution engine, a 1,130 cubic centimeters, later 1,247 cubic centimeters, liquid-cooled 60-degree V-twin, producing 115 to 125 horsepower, depending on variant. This was massive power for a Harley, delivered with smoothness that felt completely un-Harley-like. The bike weighed around 650 pounds wet and could hit 140 miles per hour, making it a genuine performance machine. When introduced in 2002, the V-Rod cost $17,000, premium pricing that positioned it as Harley's halo performance bike. Current used models trade for $8,000 to $15,000 depending on condition and variant. The V-Rod featured a hydroform frame, aggressive styling, and build quality that was actually excellent, which was part of the problem. The V-Rod was too good at being something Harley Davidson wasn't. It didn't sound like a Harley. It didn't look like a traditional Harley. It didn't feel like a Harley. Enthusiasts who wanted that traditional air-cooled V-twin character stayed away. Riders who wanted performance bought Japanese sport bikes. The V-Rod fell into a no-man's land between segments, selling in respectable but not spectacular numbers until Harley finally killed it in 2017. If you're as passionate about motorcycles as we are, hit that like button, hit hype, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world of two wheels. The V-Rod proved that excellent engineering doesn't guarantee commercial success. Harley's customers wanted tradition and character over technical sophistication, but at least the V-Rod was well built. Our next motorcycle had problems that went far beyond just market positioning. It even isn't about a specific motorcycle. It's about an engine that plagued multiple model lines for nearly 2 decades. Number 2, twin cam 88 engine, various models. The catastrophic design flaw. The twin cam 88 and later 96, 103, and 110 variants suffered from fundamental design flaws that caused catastrophic failures and cost Harley owners millions in repairs. The twin cam family ranged from 1,450 cubic centimeters to 1,801 cubic centimeters displacement, producing 690 horsepower depending on variant and tuning. These engines appeared in virtually every big twin model from soft Ales to touring bikes, meaning the problems affected Harley's entire lineup for nearly 20 years. The biggest issue? Cam chain tensioner failure. The hydraulic tensioners would fail, allowing the cam chain to jump or break, resulting in catastrophic engine damage. Even worse, the compensator would fail, causing violent vibrations and potential transmission damage. Some engines suffered from inadequate oil flow to the cam bearings, causing premature wear and failure. Many twin-cam engines also experienced base gasket leaks and primary chain issues. Bikes with twin-cam engines cost $12,000 to $30,000 new depending on model. The hidden cost? Many owners spent thousands more on repairs, upgrades, and preventative maintenance, trying to avoid the inevitable failures. Today, knowledgeable used buyers specifically avoid certain twin-cam years or budget several $1,000s for immediate tensioner and compensator upgrades. The twin-cam problems were so widespread that an entire aftermarket industry emerged selling upgraded tensioners, compensators, and oil pumps. The fact that Harley knew about these issues but took years to address them properly damaged customer trust in ways the company is still repairing today. As we get closer to revealing the absolute best Harley Davidson motorcycles of all time, those game changers that redefined American motorcycling, make sure you've smashed that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single legendary detail. However, as bad as the twin-cam problems were, they pale in comparison to our #1 worst Harley Davidson motorcycle. This bike combined unreliability, poor performance, and terrible timing into one unforgettable disaster. Number 1. Harley Davidson Shovelhead AMF early years. The early AMF-era Shovelhead wasn't just bad, it was catastrophically bad, representing the absolute lowest point in Harley Davidson's long history. These bikes combined AMF's cost-cutting and poor quality control with the worst possible timing, the 1973 oil crisis. The Shovelhead engine displaced 1,200 cubic centimeters, 74 cubic inches, and produced around 65 horsepower in a good mood. The engine weighed approximately 720 pounds fully dressed and topped out around 95 to 100 miles per hour when everything was working properly, which was rarely. The name Shovelhead came from the rocker covers that resembled coal shovels. A new 1973 Shovelhead cost around $3,500, which seemed like a bargain until you tried to actually ride it. These bikes featured electrical systems that would fail without warning, oil leaks from virtually every gasket, and assembly quality so poor that nuts and bolts would vibrate loose during the first ride. The 1973 oil crisis dropped octane ratings, causing engine knock, overheating, and blown gaskets. Many bikes were delivered with loose components, improperly torqued fasteners, and missing parts. Today, early AMF Shovelheads trade for $8,000 to $15,000, but only if they've been completely rebuilt with modern components. Original survivors are essentially worthless, except as restoration projects. Most have been torn down to the last bolt and rebuilt properly, something AMF should have done in the first place. The early AMF Shovelhead represents everything that can go wrong when a motorcycle company loses its soul. Cost-cutting replaced craftsmanship. Speed replaced quality. Profits replaced pride. These bikes were so bad they nearly killed Harley Davidson as a company. If the 1981 management buyout hadn't rescued the motor company from AMF, we might not be talking about Harley Davidson today. But we are talking about Harley today because despite those failures, the motor company has built some of the greatest motorcycles in history, and now it's time to celebrate the winners. Stick with me, because the bikes on this best list represent American motorcycling at its absolute finest. The 8 best Harley Davidson motorcycles. Number 8. Harley Davidson Fat Boy. The Fat Boy didn't just become a great motorcycle, it became a cultural phenomenon. Introduced in 1990 and immortalized in Terminator 2. Judgment Day, the Fat Boy represents everything great about Harley's Softail era. The original Fat Boy featured an 1,340cc Evolution engine, producing 60 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighed 690 pounds wet and featured solid disc wheels, a wide front end, and that distinctive shotgun exhaust that became its signature. The Evolution engine was reliable, powerful, and maintained that traditional Harley character that customers demanded. When introduced in 1990, the Fat Boy cost around $12,000, A 1990 Fat Boy today trades for $8,000 to $14,000, depending on condition and originality. Modern Fat Boys cost $20,000 to $23,000 and feature the much larger Milwaukee 8 114 engine, 1,868 cubic centimeters, producing around 119 pound-feet of torque. When Arnold Schwarzenegger rode the Fat Boy in Terminator 2, he didn't just create an iconic movie moment, he created a legend that still drives sales today. The Fat Boy proved that Harley could build reliable, beautiful motorcycles that combine nostalgia with modern technology. But impressive as the Fat Boy was, it was really a refinement of ideas Harley had been perfecting for years. Our next bike took those ideas even further. This one looked like it rolled straight out of the 1950s, but underneath beat a modern Evolution engine wrapped in thoroughly contemporary engineering. Number 7. Harley Davidson Heritage Softail Nostalgia. The Heritage Softail represented Harley's mastery of retro styling combined with modern reliability. The Heritage Softail featured the same 1,340 cubic centimeters Evolution engine as the Fat Boy, producing 60 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque. But the Heritage wrapped that powertrain in classic styling with leather saddlebags, chrome studs, windshield and styling cues borrowed from the Hydra Glide and Duo Glide of the 1950s. The bike weighed approximately 700 pounds wet. When introduced, the Heritage Softail cost around $13,000. Today, clean early examples trade for $7,000 to $12,000. Modern Heritage models cost $19,000 to $22,000 and feature the Milwaukee 8 107 or 114 engines. It satisfied customer demand for nostalgic styling without sacrificing modern performance and reliability. Riders got that classic Harley look with hidden rear suspension, electric start, 5-speed transmission, and an engine that actually started every time and didn't leak oil everywhere. The Heritage Softail became one of Harley's best-selling models and spawned an entire philosophy. Give customers that classic look and feel, but make sure the bike actually works. It's a philosophy that continues to drive Harley design today. Speaking of philosophy, our next motorcycle represented a completely different approach, stripping away everything unnecessary to create something pure. Number 6. Harley Davidson Sportster XLCH. The XLCH Sportster represented Harley's competition bike for the street. Minimal weight, maximum attitude, and raw performance that defined the term hot rod. This wasn't a touring bike or a cruiser. This was a muscle bike before that term existed. Featured the legendary Ironhead engine in 883 cubic centimeters or 1,000 cubic centimeters configurations, producing 40-58 horsepower depending on year and displacement. More importantly, it weighed only 8,510 pounds, making it one of the lightest Harleys ever built. The bike featured kickstart only in early years. No electric start, no tachometer, just pure motorcycling stripped to its essence. Early XLCHS cost around $1,200 new. Today, pristine examples fetch $15,000 to $30,000, with rare early years commanding even higher prices. The XLCH became a favorite of customizers, so finding original survivors is increasingly difficult. What made the XLCH special was its purity of purpose. This was a motorcycle for riding, not posing. The riding position was aggressive, the seat was minimal, and the power delivery was raw and unfiltered. It vibrated, it was loud, and it demanded skill and attention from its rider. The XLCH inspired generations of Harley enthusiasts and established the Sportster line as Harley's performance division. It proved that Harley could build bikes that went fast and handled well when they chose to. The XLCH wasn't about comfort or convenience. It was about the pure joy of riding a motorcycle. Sometimes evolution improves on the original. Our next bike took that Sportster philosophy and perfected it, making it a favorite of riders who wanted performance alongside that traditional V-twin character. Number 5. Harley Davidson FXRS Lowrider Sport. The FXRS represented Harley's best-handling motorcycle for over a decade. While other manufacturers chased raw power, Harley created a bike that could actually corner. The The FXRS featured rubber-mounted Evolution engines in 1,340 cubic centimeters displacement, producing 60 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque. But the real magic was in the chassis. The FXR frame used rubber engine mounts that isolated vibration while maintaining structural rigidity. Combined with proper suspension geometry and quality components, the FXRS could actually be hustled through twisty roads with confidence. The bike weighed approximately 620 pounds wet. FXR models cost $11,000 to $14,000 new, depending on year and variant. Today, clean FXRS command premium prices, $10,000 to $18,000, because knowledgeable riders recognize them as the best handling Harleys of their era. Many consider the FXR the last truly great Harley Dynaframe design. It balanced traditional Harley character with genuine performance capability. The rubber mounts kept vibration manageable. The suspension actually worked. The brakes were adequate. The riding position was comfortable for all-day rides, but sporty enough for aggressive riding. The FXR became a cult favorite among riders who actually ride rather than just cruise. It inspired a massive aftermarket and continues to be one of the most customized and modified Harley platforms. When Harley discontinued the FXR, enthusiasts mourned the loss of Harley's best handling bike. But handling isn't everything. Sometimes a motorcycle's greatness comes from how it defines an entire category. Our next bike did exactly that. No plastic fairings, no flashy bodywork, just a big bike with a windshield and bags that could eat up interstate miles all day long. Number 4, Harley Davidson Road King. The Road King represented Harley's answer to riders who wanted touring capability with classic styling. The Road King launched with a 1,340cc Evolution engine, later upgrading to twin cam and eventually Milwaukee 8 power. Current models feature the Milwaukee 8 107 or 114, producing 118-123 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs approximately 775 to 800 pounds, depending on year and accessories, with detachable windshield, leather saddlebags, and classic styling inspired by the 1960s Electra Glide. Original Road Kings cost $13,000 to $15,000. Today, used examples range from $8,000 for high-mileage older bikes to $25,000 for recent low-mileage examples. New Road Kings start at $20,000 to $23,000. The Road King had versatility. Remove the windshield and bags for weekend cruising, add them back for long tours. The bike could transform from strip cruiser to full touring machine in minutes. The riding position was comfortable, the seat was excellent, and the bike's stability made long highway miles effortless. Get ready because we're about to unveil the 3 greatest Harley Davidson motorcycles ever built, the legends that shaped an industry. If you're as pumped as we are to see what makes them truly iconic, smash that like button, hit hype, and subscribe now so you don't miss a single moment of this historic countdown. Number 3, Harley Davidson Street Glide. The Street Glide isn't just a motorcycle, it's a statement. Introduced as part of Harley Davidson's touring lineup, it quickly became a bestseller, defining the bagger style and offering riders a perfect blend of aggressive looks, long-haul comfort, and unmistakable Harley character. Modern Street Glide models are powered by the Milwaukee 8 107 1,746 cubic centimeters or 114 1,868 cc engine, delivering impressive torque, typically around 111-119 pound-feet, and smooth, responsive power. These bikes weigh approximately 820 to 850 pounds wet, depending on accessories, and feature the iconic Batwing fairing, spacious saddlebags, and advanced infotainment systems. The chassis is designed for stability and handling, with responsive front forks and adjustable rear suspension, making it capable of devouring interstate miles or carving through winding roads with confidence. When introduced, the Street Glide was positioned as a premium touring machine, with prices ranging from $20,000 to $25,000 depending on the year and options. Today, used models hold their value well, trading for $12,000 to $28,000, while new models start around $23,000, $1,000 to $28,000. It offers the classic Harley-Davidson aesthetic that enthusiasts crave, combined with modern technology and comfort features that make long-distance riding a pleasure. Its distinctive silhouette and powerful engine have made it a cultural icon, representing the freedom and spirit of the open road. The Street Glide proves that Harley Davidson can continually evolve its core offerings while staying true to its heritage, creating a machine that is both a joy to ride and a head-turner wherever it goes. Number 2, Harley Davidson Panhead. The Panhead engine era represents perhaps the most romanticized period in Harley-Davidson history. These bikes captured everything great about post-war American motorcycling: power, reliability, style, and that indefinable quality that makes Harleys special. The Panhead displaced 61 cubic inches, 1,000 cubic centimeters, or 74 cubic inches, 1,200 cubic centimeters, producing 56 to 60 horsepower, depending on configuration. The engine earned its name from the distinctive pan-shaped rocker covers that gave it a unique appearance. The bike weighed 600 to 650 pounds depending on model and equipment, with hand clutch, foot shift, and hydraulic lifters that made it more refined than previous flathead and knucklehead designs. New Panheads cost $1,200 to $1,800 depending on year and model. Today, clean original Panheads fetch $30,000 to $70,000, with pristine early examples commanding even higher prices. These bikes have become investments, appreciating faster than most classic cars. Panheads appeared in Easy Rider, cementing their status as cultural icons. They became favorites of customizers, spawning the entire chopper movement. They established Harley Davidson as America's motorcycle company during the post-war boom. The Panhead wasn't just a great motorcycle, it was the foundation upon which Harley built its legend. But even the legendary Panhead built on ideas pioneered by an earlier design. The #1 greatest Harley Davidson motorcycle of all time represents the origin of everything that makes Harley special. Number 1. Harley Davidson Knucklehead, the game changer. The Knucklehead wasn't just a great motorcycle, it was revolutionary. This bike transformed Harley Davidson from a struggling company building outdated flathead engines into the dominant force in American motorcycling. The Knucklehead saved Harley Davidson and established the design language that continues today. The Knucklehead featured Harley's first overhead valve V-twin engine, displacing 61 cubic inches, 1,000 cubic centimeters, or 74 cubic inches, 1,200 cubic centimeters, and producing 37 to 48 horsepower. This was double the power of the flathead engines it replaced, delivered with smoothness and reliability that set new standards. The engine earned its nickname from the distinctive rocker boxes that resembled knuckles. The bike weighed approximately 565 pounds and could reach speeds over 90 miles per hour. Absolutely spectacular for the 1930s. New Knuckleheads cost $600 to $750, a premium price during the Depression. Today, original Knuckleheads are among the most valuable Harleys, fetching $50,000 to $150,000 or more for pristine examples. Rare variants and racing models can exceed $200,000 at auction. The Knucklehead first appeared in 1936 when Harley was struggling during the Depression, competing against Indian and facing pressure from British imports. This single-engine design saved the company, establishing Harley as the premier American motorcycle manufacturer. Every Harley engine since, Panhead, Shovelhead, Evolution, Twin Cam, Milwaukee 8, traces its lineage directly to the Knucklehead. The Knucklehead represents the origin story of everything great about Harley Davidson. It proved that American engineering could create motorcycles that were powerful, reliable, and distinctively styled. It established the V-twin engine configuration as Harley's signature. Today's Harley Davidson builds on lessons learned over more than a century. The Milwaukee 8 engine delivers power and reliability that would shock riders from the AMF era. Modern Harleys start reliably, don't leak oil, and can cover enormous distances without drama. But they still maintain that essential Harley character, that sound, that feel, that indefinable quality that makes them special. Which bike surprised you most on this list? Watch the next video and don't forget to hit the like button, hit hype, and subscribe for more motorcycle content that goes beyond the surface.